Hello, how are you? Today I brought you a recipe for lunch or dinner, which is a complete meal. Wonderful, economical, with much fewer carbohydrates, very rich in fiber, and high in protein, even though it doesn't have any meat, chicken, or fish. You're going to love this delicious dish. Stick around until the end, you won't want to miss this. Before we start, I want to ask you if you like having options like this, without meat, chicken, or fish. Even if you're not a vegetarian, sometimes it's nice because it's a lighter, more economical meal, right? That really makes a difference in our daily lives. To get the ingredients, take a look down below in the description. And if you can, go ahead and leave a like on the video. That's super important to me. It shows YouTube that you trust the channel, support my content, and helps make sure other healthy recipes like this reach you as well. I'm going to add a bit of olive oil here in my frying pan. And in this olive oil, I'm going to saute my onion until golden. This is the first step I like to do here before adding the other ingredients, because when the onion is already sauteed, it gives a different flavor. It gives a different taste. To help the onion saute faster, I'm going to add some salt right away because it helps to dehydrate it a bit, draws the water out of the onion, and makes this process more efficient and quicker. So let's wait for this to happen. Because onion is a really wonderful food, right? Besides having that home-cooked mom's or grandma's food flavor, which is super good, it's also a natural prebiotic and has very interesting fibers. And it's from the family allium as well, which means it can help our immunity. Let's wait for this to saute well, and I'll be right back. Now that the onion is already sauteed, I'm going to add some vegetables here. I'm going to add the chayote. Remember that it will bring a lot of fiber. Chayote has a lot of water activity, so when we add it here, it starts to lower the temperature of the pan and allows us to saute everything better without needing to add water or anything like that. If you don't want to use chayote, you can use zucchini, which also works really well. I'm going to add a bit of carrot here as well, remembering that carrot has much less carbohydrate than most people think. A lot of people think that carrot has a lot of sugar, a lot of carbohydrates, but that's not true. In fact, it even has quite a lot of insoluble fiber, which helps control blood sugar. And I'm going to add some seasonings on top here. I'm going to add a bit of dehydrated garlic. The steam makes everything stick together. I'm going to add a little bit of paprika. And I'm going to add a little bit of red pepper flakes. I love pepper, you know that. But if you don't like it or don't want to use it, you don't have to. The choice of seasonings is always very optional, really, depending on what you like, what you have at home, and what you want to use. So I'm going to give this a stir, and you'll see how it's going to wilt down because there's a lot of water here and we're going to saute it. In just a bit, I'll come back when it's softer because there's still one wonderful vegetable to add and turn this into a real meal. It's an amazing vegetable, and we're going to turn this into a meal, but hold on a second. Look at this. 2 minutes have passed, and just like I told you, the chayote starts to release its water. It wilts and shrinks down. Now I'm going to add one last vegetable before we actually make our little cream to turn this into a skillet pie. This here is cabbage, so I'm going to add a bit of cabbage now. I'm going to cover it and wait for it to wilt, and then I'll add the rest. Remember that cabbage has very few carbs, like any leafy vegetable, and it's super rich in fiber, lots of antioxidants, it's wonderful, and the flavor is pretty neutral, right? So I keep doing this, it wilts, I add the rest, and when it's ready, which only takes a few minutes, I'll be back. Everything is already sauteed, and by the way, the seasoning turned out amazing. Now come closer because I'm going to teach you how to make the batter, so we can turn this into a delicious pie. So look, for the base of the batter here, I have the eggs. Remember, they really help when it comes to protein. Eggs are super rich in protein. They also have choline, vitamin D, vitamins, minerals. It's a very nutritious food. To the eggs, I'm going to add the milk here. I'm using cow's milk actually because it also has more protein, and then added more protein to this mixture. I'm going to adjust the salt because the recipe is already well seasoned. So here I'll just add a little bit of salt. And as for the flour here, for this batter, I'm going to use chickpea flour. It's super rich in protein, in fiber, and it has a very pleasant, very interesting flavor. If you don't want to use chickpea flour, if you can't find it in your city, you can use oat flour, you can use almond flour if you want fewer carbs. You can add coconut flour by the spoonful until you get about this consistency. You can use oat bran. What else? There are several flours you could use that are healthy. I even have a video here on the channel talking about low-carb flours that we could use as substitutes for higher-carb flours. I'll leave that video in the description. Now I'm going to mix this really, really well until there are no lumps left. And then I'll start adding our vegetables here so we can take everything back to the frying pan. I've already given it a good mix, and now I'm going to add a few spoonfuls of the vegetables here, mixing them in, and then once everything is well integrated, I'll come back. So I'm back. Now, I'll actually be back with the recipe for the same frying pan. Don't worry about washing it at all, because we already used it here to cook the vegetables. I'm going to turn the heat back on here, since I had turned it off. I'm going to turn it on again, but this time I'll set it to low heat. Let me tidy things up here. So I'll set it to the lowest heat and cover it so it cooks slowly. When it's ready, it doesn't take long. I'll be back so we can try it. Hold on a second. What a wonderful smell. It's already looking nice and opaque, so it's completely cooked. I'm going to cut a piece here so we can try it. I can't wait to taste it. Make this at home. You're going to love it. It smells amazing. I can't wait to try it. Make it at home. You're going to love it. Remember to like the video and share it with anyone you know who would enjoy it. Let's work together to grow this chain of kindness. That's what I want here on the channel. Let's try it. Chickpea flour gives it an amazing texture, a wonderful flavor. I love it. Make it at home. See you next time. Bye.